Hello everybody and welcome to Collection Reflection. Today we will be reflecting on From Dragon Stars, Super Yi Shenron, aka Omega Sin Shenron from DragonBall GT. And this time around we're gonna jump straight into the articulation. Starting off with one of the things that this figure does better than any other Dragon Star, the head articulation. He can move 360. He actually has a functional neck joint that can look up that far and look down that far. He can also get some pretty good tilt. His massive shoulders can go around 360 no problem, and they can even move outwards a little bit past 90. His bicep can rotate 360. And he's got some pretty solid double jointed elbows. He has SH Figure Art style wrists, so you can have it tilted to rotate in this direction or this direction. And they can also rotate. He does have a ball joint at the waist that can give him 360. He can lean back that far and forward that far. Decent range at the cost of the appearance. He does have drop down hips, and they help him kick forward that far and back that far. He does have a thigh swivel, and he's got double jointed knees, and his ankles are actually on the same system that his wrists are, so he can kick down that far and up that far, and they have a nice swivel, and he can get a very small amount of pivot. As far as articulation goes, he's definitely one of the better Dragon Stars, especially with that neck joint. Let's go ahead and see what else the figure came with. The figure comes with two sets of hands, a set of fists, and a set of open hands. I really like that on each of the hands they gave him those black spikes and they actually painted them pretty well. You could even see that on the fist they sculpted in his fingernail, but they did not paint it. There you can see that the spikes are painted pretty nicely on this hand. I do wish that the nails were a little bit sharper and painted as well. He can move the hand up that far and down that far. The other items that he comes with in the box are these back spikes. All of the spikes on his body are a soft rubbery material, and they all have unique shapes so that they're keyed into specific spots on his back. And if you still find yourself lost as to which spike goes where, they also have numbers on them. So you can see that the number 4 spike would go into the number 4 slot on his back. And that would be the slot for number 2. Thankfully, they're not so loose that they'll fall out on their own, but after messing with them for just a little bit, you can see that they will get loose and fall out. During this review, they've all fallen out at least once. Compared to the other Dragon Stars, in my opinion, he's definitely one of the better ones, but let's go ahead and see what he looks like standing next to some. First up, we have Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta from Dragon Stars. And you can see that both of their hair are just about to the tips of his spike. Next up, we have a couple figures closer to the 5-inch mark. We have Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4 Goku from the SH Figure Arts. Again, I think that these characters actually scale very well with Omega Shenron. Here we have an actual 5-inch comparison with Dragon Ball Evolve's Vegeta Blue and Gogeta Blue. At this height, I don't think these figures are scaling too well at all with Omega Shenron. Up next, we have Golden Frieza and Goku Blue from Dragon Ball Shoto. These are the closest thing I have to a Dragon Ball 4-inch figure, but these actually scale a lot closer to 3 or 3.5 inches. And as you can see there, the top of Goku's hair is barely at the top of the hip for Omega Sin Shenron. And for our final comparison, here's the dirty pumpkin himself, Pumpkin Rapper's head. When thinking of ways to enhance this figure, I came up with a couple of very minor improvements that I thought could help this figure, but they honestly don't really need to be done. For starters, as I mentioned before, I would have liked to paint his nails black, and like most Dragon Stars, he does come pretty loose. Thankfully, even though his massive shoulders do limit his articulation, they also keep the joint in place so that it's not wiggling and wobbling around everywhere. If you plan to just pick a pose and leave him on your shelf, you should be fine. But if you intend to pose this guy around at all, you're more than likely going to have issues with his spikes falling out of his back. So I would recommend putting just a drop of super glue around the edges and firmly press it back in there for a few seconds. But make sure to take it out before it dries if you want to make sure that you can keep these removable. If you don't mind them being stuck in place, then go ahead and just set them in his back and wait for it to dry. So when it comes to the question, should you collect this figure or reflect it? I say collect this figure. In my opinion, every figure has a price to where it's worth collecting, and of course that price is going to be subjective to others, but when looking at this retail price of $19.99, I'd say that this is one of the very best Dragon Star figures that have ever been released, and I genuinely hope that they continue to go in this direction. I have seen this figure go for over $40 on Amazon. At that point, I would reflect it. I'm sure SH Figure Arts is going to come out with their own version anytime soon to match up with their Super Saiyan 4 characters. But that figure is more than likely going to be around $70 or even more. So for $19.99, I think this is a wonderful stand-in. It gives you as much articulation as you really need. Of course, he could have used some extra accessories, but as a figure on its own, it's pretty great. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you've seen any of my other reviews, you could probably notice a few slight changes in this one. Let me know if you feel like there was something missing from this review, or if you liked this quicker, shorter style. I'm thinking I might go in this direction with my future videos, but I'm not sure yet, and I could really use your help on deciding. And for everyone who's liked, commented, and subscribed, I genuinely appreciate you so much. You have no idea what that means to me. I just wanted to acknowledge all of you and say thank you so much. And for everyone out there watching, I hope you have a nice chuckle at some point in your day. And please, try to be kind to somebody, because it could really change their life. I'll talk to you next time.